Hey, how's it going, guys and gals? Going live for a second time in one day. It is so crazy and so wacky. Thought I'd have nothing better to do than talk to you guys and see how it's going on Tuesday. No, honestly, I want to give you guys some tips. I'll be reading some cliff notes. I did a triathlon camp last year for Team Zoot. It was kind of convenient. It was out in California. Kind of worked with a work trip, so worked the going there and then doing the work trip on the back end. So I kind of want to share my experience and tips because a lot of people talk about triathlon camps and are they worth it? Or do you get anything out of them? And I just want to share from my experience because that was the first one I really attended and went out of town. It was kind of nice. It was, you know, uh, March in Kansas City, so the weather is usually not very friendly to get out and do bike rides and stuff. But here's kind of what you need to think about if you're ever going to venture off and do a tri camp that's, packing up your bike and flying somewhere or driving somewhere significant. And here's what you kind of need to think about. I would recommend getting course maps. So go on there, find out, do they have the runs mapped out? Do they have the rides mapped out? Where are you going? What are you going to be doing? There are a lot of rides. It was basically in, close to San Diego, Carlsbad, California. So it's right there on the coast, on the beach, which is, you think that's awesome and great, cycling on the ocean. Well, the problem is the roads were extremely busy, lots of cars. So we had 15, 20 of us riding around trying not to get run over. So if you're hesitant when there's traffic out there, that might not be the best situation for you. So make sure you ask and see where you're going to be riding, or do you have course maps? Are you going to be comfortable? We did one ride. There's an extreme amount of climbing. So if you're been riding indoors all winter and you're not prepared for that and you feel like you're going to get dropped a lot, maybe reconsider, where that camp is at and if it's the best camp for you. Another one, check out the bike course to see if it's going to be congested, populated area. So I was kind of following that up. Was it somewhat okay riding in groups or traffic? You need to be aware you're probably going to be riding in groups if you're going to be doing a training camp with a bunch of other people. I think for Team Zoot we had, I don't know, 30, 40 people there. So be okay riding in groups. If you take your triathlon bike, you're going to have to be on the drops. Don't ride around in an aero position in a peloton of people. It's just not safe and stuff, especially when you're out there with a lot of cars and a lot of traffic. So just be aware of where you're going to be riding and how many people are going to be there. If it's be lots of groups, or kind of what you're going to be doing with that. Ask for itineraries. So know where you're going, know what you're doing. Is it going to be a lot of workouts? Is it going to be a little workouts? Is there going to be some like classroom type of stuff? So we had a good mix in Team Zoot. There was a day that we rode somewhere and we just did bike handling skills, which is good. Wasn't necessarily what I was hoping for. I was hoping for more getting out and just riding, getting miles in. But there's some skills doing that. There's some run skills and that type of thing. So as a coach, it was beneficial for me because it was head up by McKeely Jones, who's a world Ironman champion. So to see the things that she does for her groups and everything, it was kind of good insight as far as a coach goes. But maybe as an athlete, if you just wanted to go out there true volume, hit the road, maybe something like that isn't exactly what you want to do. So make sure you get an itinerary to know what you're going to be doing the entire time before you fork over, the entry into the triathlon camp and then the forking over the expense to go travel and take all your gear there. So we hit itineraries. Just make sure you're ready for the volume. Like I said, one bike ride was 40 miles and a ton of climbing. It took a couple hours to do, and if I didn't feel like I was ready for it, it would have been a problem. So make sure that you are prepared for the volume, whether it be swim, bike, or run. There's 3,000, 3,500 meter sessions in a 50-meter pool. So if you're not ready for that kind of stuff, it could cause a problem if you can't really do the workout. If you're going to be sucking wind, just be ready. Get the itinerary. Know what the volume is going to be doing. That's another key one. And like I said, don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. If they don't have the answers for you, maybe that's not the camp for you. If you're kind of uncertain where they're going, what they're doing, how much they're doing, are they doing technique work more than speed, or is it more, some camps are a little bit more spiritual and just connecting with others. So if you're looking to get out there and just hardcore pound the miles, maybe that camp isn't for you. Or if you can't get enough information, that's kind of another red flag. Maybe that course or that camp isn't the best for you. The budget is a big one. Does it fit in your budget? With Team Zoot, we got a little bit of a discount on the actual entry to the training camp. But like I said, the travel was kind of helped by the fact that my flight was covered because I booked it with a work trip. So I did the flight out there, and then I had to ship my bike out there, so that was an expense, and a rental car that was separate from my work trip. So a little bit more expense, but some was covered, like I said, by work. But had I just been doing it by myself and not had the work trip to book in there with it, I don't know if I would have done it, because I had a complete different lodging, so I had to drive up to a different area and get a different hotel for the actual work trip. So you kind of have to take that into account as a factor. You know, the budget, it's going to be a big deal. So if it's something local that you could drive to, you know, if it's out in, I'm in Kansas City, if it's Lawrence, Kansas, you know, 45-minute drive, and you know, maybe you pay for a hotel, or maybe you just stay home and drive. So maybe budget makes a difference for you. Can you get in a group and cut the cost? So had I known, I didn't know anybody on Team Zoot that went out there. Had I known some people, maybe that would have been an opportunity to share some cost as far as lodging goes and rental cars and all that type of thing. So, you know, find a group if they're going. If you're part of Team Zoot and you're doing the triathlon camp this year out in Carlsbad, I recommend it if you've got the opportunity, if you've got the budget for it. But maybe reach out and find out if there's other people going, like-minded people. Maybe you can, you know, split lodging, split rental cars, and other things, and just make it more affordable. But overall, I think there's some validity to triathlon camps, especially if you can get out to a situation where the weather is more cooperative. And say here in Kansas City, when it's in March, you could still get snow all the time. It can just be kind of crappy. So if you could get out to a location where it has good weather, but also I could have gone out into California, it could have rained the whole time. So just be ready that if you drop the time and the money and the effort, that you get to this camp and it may not work out exactly how you wanted, because it may rain or something like that and kind of squash the whole deal. So I think there's validity to it, but you kind of have to weigh other factors when you kind of sign up for a triathlon camp and what you can do with it. So that's basically my experience. I did a few posts on my website. I might dig through and find the links and post them in the comments here, so you can kind of read about my experience with Team Zoot and stuff. But you know, a lot of people talking about triathlon camps, especially in February and March, to get out there and get some time out on the road and stuff. You know, different locations where they're gonna have snow and whatever. So I thought I'd kind of share my tips and ideas for that. So hopefully that kind of helped you out. If you got any questions, always put it in the comments and the Facebook post, and we'll talk to you guys later.